Natalia, tell me something. What is the
Mhm.
first memory that you have of yourself of being alive?
I think I was two. Yeah, I
What
was
were
2 years
what
old.
do you remember what you were doing?
Yes, exactly. I remember like it was yesterday. I was in my grandparents' yard, garden. It was a big bathtub full of water. That was they were watering the garden with that, and I remember taking my dress off and getting into that bathtub.
Into the
And my
bathtub.
dress was white and pink stripes. That's how many details I remember from that. I even remember the back of the of the wall where it happened.
Wow. Wow.
What about you?
But before that, nothing, right?
No, no,
Before
not
that,
before
nothing.
that.
I
It's the
don't,
earliest memory.
you see, I think my earliest memory is from probably when I was 3, and my dad was walking me to the daycare, and he dared me to jump over some puddle or something. I jumped, but I didn't jump over, so I ended up in the puddle. And then he had to take me back home to get me to get me to change. And I remember my mom being pissed off at my dad, asking him, "Why would you have to do that? Why did you dare a 3-year-old to jump over a puddle?" So she was not happy about that. But
So it's
again,
some kind of dramatic experience. The
right?
same was for me because everyone was looking for me. They lost me. That's
Oh, they
probably
lost you in
why.
the tub.
Yeah, I was there, but they lost me. They thought that, I wandered somewhere, and that's probably why it's got implemented on my brain so deeply that I remember it right now.
So you see, but we're the way that we remember ourselves from when we actually realize who we are, right? And the things
Mm-hmm.
around us and everything. But do you think it's possible that even when we are in the embryo form, in a fetal form, when we're in our mother's womb, that we still can understand something, hear something, and that can affect our life?
I don't know, maybe in development, not for the core memory, or if it's like our 50 life, if we believe in that in reincarnation, maybe we're still, our soul is still there. But otherwise, I don't really know. I don't
Well,
really
you see,
know.
well, today there's somebody might know, who might know.
Okay.
Her her name is Anna, and she is a prenatal psychologist. Which for me, prenatal, right, being from the medical background, for me, prenatal is basically, taking care of a pregnant woman and taking care of unborn baby. Yes, but not in the same way. So, Anna, if you can introduce yourself, please, and tell us what you do exactly.
Okay. Hello. Nice to meet you, Natalia, and it's good to see you again, Nadezhda.
Nice
Nadezhda,
to meet
like
you.
I love to follow your Instagram, and thank you for inviting me. Yeah, like my name is
Thank you
Anna.
for coming.
And, yeah, thank you. So, and yeah, I'm a prenatal psychologist, and also I do systemic family therapist. This is constellation in like European language, and also regression therapies. This is like what we do.
And you just said a whole
To
bunch of words.
remember oh,
You just said a whole bunch of words which probably nobody understood, including
okay,
myself.
yes. What
Yes.
is prenatal psychology? During the centuries, like year by year, world discover more and more and more about human being and also about babies. And like if in early 19th century, doctors believed that babies even don't feel pain so much, and then they did little procedures. We didn't use anesthetic because we thought that babies like they just crying because they're crying because they have to cry, and they don't have pain because their brain and the nervous system is not adult enough to feel anything. And now we
Mhm.
already like our medical history is so different. We take care more about babies. We know that they have pain, they have feeling, they can't control their feeling a lot because they don't understand what's happening around, but they have instincts that can help them to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Most important instinct to survive. How I can survive? I can survive if I will be with my mom, and
So
this
it
is
develops inside your uterus while you're still pregnant. The survival instinct is already developing. Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes, but it started after born, right? But prenatal
Mm-hmm.
is much more deeper. So I'm just like trying to tell that before people even didn't know that newborn could have feelings, right? And now we do
Mm-hmm.
more, and they understand that even before getting born, embryons like babies already have emotions, they have feelings, and they have instincts.
So the first
Okay.
time, let me interrupt you a little bit. The first time I've ever heard about this concept at all was from a reality show. You're gonna laugh. It was from a
Yeah,
reality show.
I'm gonna laugh.
So Natasha loves reality shows. That's why.
Yes.
The reality show was the Bling Empire and was about very rich Asian people,
Oh, you told me
and
about that.
yes,
Yeah.
and their one not so rich model friend. So this not so rich model friend gets introduced to a prenatal psychologist, similar like Anna, and what they do, they kind of put him in under hypnosis a little bit and made him go through what he felt while he was in the mom's uterus.
Yep.
And essentially, what happened to him is that he was adopted. He was later adopted, and he grew up in an adopted family. He never really met his biological mother.
Mhm.
And a grown man, huge guy, model, right? Built, buff,
Mhm.
and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, and he starts like crying. He starts crying and he starts saying how I feel that she's afraid. I feel my mom is afraid. And
Mm-hmm.
he's verbalizing the feelings that he felt when he was in the mother's womb. But he didn't
Mm-hmm.
really understand. He couldn't verbalize it. He couldn't really say it back then, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he was still in the womb. But now being an adult, he knows what words to assign to those feelings. And so in that hypnosis state, he was able to say, now I know when he got out of the hypnosis state, he basically said, I understand why my mom abandoned me, why my mom gave me up for adoption, basically, because she was
Mm-hmm.
afraid, she didn't know what to do, she was young, and and that kind of helped him kind of get rid of some of his childhood trauma because again, I feel like a lot of people who are adopted, they kind of feel like I need closure, right? Why did
Right.
this happen? And so in his case, he understood his mom and he understood her feelings that she was afraid, she was young, she didn't know what else to do with the baby. And so that's why she gave him up for adoption. And so this was the
Mm-hmm.
first time I've ever heard about this. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, that was so weird to me. That whole concept
Yeah.
that you can go back and relive your feelings when you were still in the
Yeah.
womb,
You weren't ever born yet. Didn't even breathe air. Yeah.
right? So this
And
is
there,
this is what Anna works with.
yeah, and there
Mm-hmm.
are a huge conception about wanted and unwanted kids. Some feelings like I wasn't wanted, like my mom didn't want me. Of course, people don't remember that. That gives a pattern to not feel that I'm a right person. I'm a someone who deserves a life. And you probably saw a lot of people like they can be like very successful in their life, but they don't feel that. It can be from that. And I think the most important and the most difficult thing to work it's if one thought about abortion
Hmm.
because it's kind of a real really really scary and the biggest trauma if kids survive during the abortion or like it was twins and like brother sister was killed and and another person survived and they can feel that scared and unsafe all the time.
I know this man. He is in his 60s now. And when his mother was pregnant, she already had two children, and it was the last pregnancy. And it was an unexpected pregnancy. She didn't want to be, to have another child. And she couldn't get an abortion when she found out it was too late, or it was something religious, I don't remember, but she couldn't have an abortion officially. But she tried to get rid of him. She ate whatever food she couldn't possibly eat to get rid of the baby. She ran up and down. There was a lot of things she did to try to, have a miscarriage, and that didn't happen. He was born, and now in his 60s. But to this day, he cannot forgive his mother. He doesn't like. They're like in relationship. They talk all of this,
Mhm.
but the trauma, the mental trauma, I guess, when he found out about it was so deep that he in his 60s he still talks about it, and he how he cannot forgive her for trying to get rid of him.
It's still painful, right? It's still painful, but it's the problem that sometimes the early traumatization brings us not only pain. You know, sometimes we know what to do with pain, right? Sometimes we have like tools how to dissociate from pain and continue life. Yeah, sometimes people like that can feel they can accept their life too. People can feel that they don't have on self-confidence. They sometimes try to self-harm, so they choose some kind of uh, different ways to self-harm. You know, it might be like risky sport, or it might be like smoking and etc. They can choose their difficult profession to prove that I'm okay to live. Like, and sometimes it's very difficult to live like that when you don't feel that you're accepted by the world, and you every time try to prove, or another way you try to self-harm yourself.
Really sounds like me in many ways, because I always want to kind of like jump higher than my head, right? Like I'm trying to like,
Hmm.
oh, let me do this, and then let me do this, and then let me do this. And it's never enough. Like whenever I achieve something, it's not like, oh, yay, I'm happy, now I'm content. Now I'm like, yes, that's enough, right? It's never enough. It really feels like it's never.
It's interesting, like to understand yourself better. It's really important to try to look at your feeling at that moment. You know, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I did it, I'm interesting to try what I want to do more, just like real interest, and
Mm-hmm,
like excitement and interesting in like easy way. This is kind of normal.
mm-hmm,
But if you feel that don't deserve what you got, or you feel
mm-hmm,
that that's nothing. Okay,
mm-hmm,
I just jumped so high, but it's nothing. I could do better, right?
mm-hmm.
Feel kind of uncomfortable feeling, anyway, uncomfortable feeling. So it's probably an interesting idea to look at that. Why?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on? Because like an prenatal psychology works until about 3 years old for kids and like parents too, and it has so many direction to work, and it's prenatal, and it's for babies, and it's for this first year. You probably heard that the first year is kind of one of the most important year, because like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of patterns started at that time. Our mothers probably were in Soviet Union time, and the life was pretty different, right?
Right. There was no diapers. There was no diapers.
Diapers.
How?
Some
Some
people choose now not to have diapers.
Why
Sometimes
would you
we didn't
choose
have
that?
water. Can you imagine? Sometimes we didn't have water at home, and they used to leave babies to like sit in the crib, or like somewhere, and just run to bring water to the home, because they had to cook dinner for husband if he worked anyway, like no matter why.
Yeah.
Right. There was
So
no sterilizers. They had to boil everything, right? Now
yes,
there's sterilizers. You can put it in a microwave, it sterilizes it for you, or push a button, it sterilizes it for you.
and about washing clothes. What about washing clothes? You had to do it everything by
Everything by
hand,
hand. That's right.
and
But also, like things like kids should, cry themselves to sleep. That still was kind of true for me when my children were little. Now they're 20 now, and right now it's completely different story. You shouldn't have, shouldn't do that. But that's what I knew. Like you should let your kids cry until they fall asleep, and it's horrible. Now I know it's horrible, but I've done
Well,
that.
listen, horrible or not horrible, I did it too because I couldn't take it. Like my back was dying and I was dying and I was breaking down mentally and okay. So don't be judgy, okay? You did the best that you could and I did the best that I could.
We talked about nature versus nurture the last I think podcast, right? And actually that's probably part of it, right? And what was it, nurture comes from, or nature, does it come from wound already, or how it is, does a child already shows his, I don't know, some narcissistic, I know, traits by, or like already when it's like the size of a pea, I don't know. And that's, can you do something as a mother to prevent from, your child going in some weird
Yeah,
direction?
yeah. This not narcissistic, yeah, it's just like, everyone says about that, right? About that traumas. Um, like the first year of life and prenatal time, it's like first things, like there's two important things. The first one is safety, right? And second one
Hmm.
is identity. Sometimes they say only about love. But like psychologist proves that identity is really important to be identified. Like you are my son or you are my daughter. If there are some problems with that, it might be a cause when narcissistic traumas growing up. The person, like, you should give safety to your kid.
Hmm.
Examples, the kid was sent to mama and grandma and other grandma like every time, and sometimes it happens, right? Then mom has to go to work and she leaves kid with some relatives, and all of them have
That was
different,
me. Yeah.
and all of them had different principles, different way how to grow up kids. This is already like I'm saying about the like basic, and I'm saying about like less traumatic story, right? It's
Hmm.
already a story about not being very safe, right?
Hmm.
Mom gives me candy and
Hmm.
grandma doesn't let me to touch them. But
Hmm.
if I'm very young, I don't know
Hmm.
when I can touch them, when I can't, and that reaction I will have. And it already makes me feel, a little bit unstable.
Hmm.
If I it's just like example, right? Another thing's identification. You are my son, like I understand that I'm your son or I'm your daughter, and I know these hands and I know how important is it, right? When I'm going to different places, like for example mama and grandma sometimes, for example, she sometimes even don't know how to speak with me. She doesn't speak with me, she just like put me somewhere on the carpet and gives me toys and going to do something or turning on the cartoons, like it happened in Soviet Union a lot because people didn't know about like what cartoons and TV does with kids, right? And I lose my identification. I see a lot of cartoons. I see like what is it, cars. Neurons doesn't work very properly. It's so many information. Then mom comes and mom does different things. This is already makes people uh, makes this a little brain to lose identification.
Hmm. Disconnection of different principle, right? One where you hear something good is on TV, it's not the same what your mom tells you is good, and you're confused and you're trying to make sense of it, right? Something like
Yes,
that.
yes, and when can grandma and grandma say some different things, mom says that some different things on TV. I see different things in my like. Have you heard about like our brain has mirror neurons?
Yeah. Hmm.
Like when we can copy things, right? For
Right, right.
for first year they work, they work very much. um, they do a great things. They building a human being, because the little one doesn't know who's him or
Yeah,
her.
so they're basically reflecting whatever he sees or she sees from other
Yeah,
people. Yeah, copying it.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes. And one of
Uh,
the principle for the identification to have a group, I know who are them. I see them pretty often, and they do pretty particular things to help me to build my identity, right? And if this group is every time different and they do every time different things, my identity is a little bit changing.
Well, imagine kids nowadays. If it was too much for us, it was like one TV channel. That's all we have.
Right.
We didn't have phones, we didn't have iPads, whatever, right? And
Mhm.
now kids, they have. It's insane the amount of information that just thrown on them from everywhere, every second, and they have to grasp for it and make sense out of it. I don't know how they like can.
But you see,
What is
Natasha,
connecting there? What's going on?
this is why I think there are people on a spectrum. There are people who are not neurotypical, that like they're
It's
calling
right
them right
now. It's
now,
more and
not
more. Yeah.
neurotypical, is because how are you going to process all of that information? That's why my personal theory, and I think I already said that in one of our episodes, that people who are not neurotypical, they are the next generation. They're literally just a mutation of, the next developmental step. They're
Yeah.
developing because of the huge amount that of data that
Yeah.
is basically given to children, and they're like, well, we're supposed to survive
They try to
somehow.
make sense out of it themselves because parents don't even pay attention because parents in their own little virtual universe at that time.
So
Most of parents.
you see
Yeah,
with
yeah,
with
and
kids like that.
we should remember about ability of the brain, right? Because like
Yeah.
when we are small, our ability is not the same. Like, and some kids, babies, for example, they can't do anything with this information.
Right. And that's why, I had my nephew. I remember my nephew, and I was still not that big myself. I was like 16, 17 at the time. And he was probably like 6 months or something, and he kept crying and crying and crying, and he wouldn't sleep, and he kept crying. And I'm like, what is going on? Why? Right? And the pediatricians are like, oh, look, everything's fine. He's growing fine. He's gaining weight, and
Mhm.
everything's fine. But maybe that's what happened. It was like overload, overload of information. And he couldn't take it, and he couldn't understand it. He couldn't process it, and that's why he couldn't sleep. Like he literally would not sleep. He would sleep like 2 seconds and then wake up.
Yeah, might be,
Overstimulation.
might be. Might
Yeah.
be. There's a different also between cartoons that we were, I don't know, like 20 years ago and
Right.
now, because like there's interesting thing that I think our brain has 7 seconds for starting to focus on something. Like if you see any object,
Mm-hmm.
it's new for you 7 seconds, and in 7 seconds your brain started to concentrate, to be focused on it. It's already work for brain. If we will see like modern cartoons, the picture change very very fast, about
Hmm.
3 4 seconds. So it means for brain it's every time feeling like something new, and the brain can focus, can start to concentrate. This
Hmm.
is a really important thing because like they say, and now there are a lot of proofs that this ability to be focused, to concentrate, kids can build before 3 years old. If they couldn't do it at 3 years old, they can do it in future. It,
Hmm.
or it will be like very difficult for them. So it means if till 3 years old a kid watch a lot of cartoons, in future it will be difficult for him to concentrate and read books or write a long time because the brain will not have this ability.
Hmm. You see,
Yeah.
my kid tells me, she literally tells me whenever I tell her, oh, come, let's watch a movie together. She goes, you want me to sit down for 2 hours and watch a whole movie? I'm like, yeah, that's like what, watching a movie is. And she's like, no, I can't concentrate that long. Like, it's not like she can't. She
Wow.
can, I know, because she does well in school. She does the things that she needs to do. But at the same token, if she has an option to do it or not to do it, right? She'd
It
rather
doesn't want
not.
to.
She
Hmm.
doesn't want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not the same, because like modern movie, they have very very dynamic changing,
Right, but
sense.
even that, like for 2 hours, she's like, that's too much. I don't want to do it. It's it's taking so too long, right? For me to just sit there and watch a movie.
Remember, for us, it was too long too.
I
I
mean,
think
I don't know, not at 15.
not at 15, maybe. I don't know.
I
Sitting,
don't know. Yeah.
moving are different, right? When you're young and you have energy.
No, yet she can sit in her room all day long and watch and look at her phone, right? That
Yeah.
that that's
Yeah.
Okay.
The concentration right there for
right,
hours.
exactly, for
Easily.
hours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Probably she has something more interesting there.
So
Yeah,
that
but for the
happens.
generation of ADHD, it's gonna be the whole generation. You don't have to be, you just trained to have it. Not like it was before, it's something neurological, just develop it, right? Because of the style of life.
So that, but yeah, but
And
that's
Yeah, and
crazy. A
it's
lot of things
it's
is
a
happening.
lot. Like I see a lot of kids that were prescribed pills very fast
Hmm.
because like
Hmm.
insurance company in the United States works like that. They don't try to do any other treatments because pills are cheaper, and they give pills to that kids from like early ages. And
Mhm.
Unfortunately, sometimes family and parents, they don't change their lifestyle because they give just pills to kids.
And
True.
how about talking about regressions? Let's talk about that part. So prenatal psychology, I think we got a little bit of understanding what that does. What about regressions and constellations? Like constellations for me is something in the sky and
Uh-huh. Yeah,
that's it.
constellation, family
What does that
constellation.
mean? Yeah.
What does it mean? So it was started in Germany. He was a priest in the church, like he was like pretty old, and he started to use different practice to understand how it works. And now it's family constellation. It's already a big type of psychology that work with generational and transgenerational traumas. What does it mean? Like I told before, like all of us here, we are for survive. There's a important instinct identity, like safety, identity, two very important things, and survival is really important thing too. And transgenerational traumas works like that. Like for example, my grandma during the Second World War survived because she hid somewhere, and like Germans didn't find her, right? And she had a lot of feelings about that. It was like kind of very difficult for her. She couldn't handle that very much, but she has to continue her life. She had to continue her life. She did it. She tried to forget that story. But the feeling that if I will be visible, it might be something not good, right? Um, came to my mother, and my mother somehow tried to hide all her life, and she probably doesn't know what's happened with her. And now me and I actually got the same pattern, and I don't know, scared to go public or etc etc etc. It's of course not the same like my grandma had, because she probably was very like she had very high emotions. She couldn't survive. My emotions probably a little bit different, but also it's not the second war, right?
Is that, but is that the same sort of the same concept as when they're talking about DNA memory?
Uh maybe, but DNA memory is more biological thing, right? Because DNA is more biological thing. But it's probably kind of the same, yes.
But because like think about it, like if you are born in a modern world, the chances are that you've never seen like a wild tiger or like a wild bear or something like that. But if you come in contact with a wild bear, you know that this is probably not a good meeting. And
Yeah,
maybe there's danger,
yeah, you will be scared of snake, like, or
right?
some different things. Yeah, but it's more, okay, it's more deeper root, and it's not a trauma, right? It's just like knowledge that we remember about snakes are not good thing. And if I see it and I'm 2 years old, I'm just probably feel fear and I just run away, because this is kind of DNA memory. It's just like part of human being knowledge. Trauma is a little bit different, and I avoid normal, typical things, but they are not typical for me, and I even don't understand what's going on. Like, for example, I want to be like this hiding, like story, like this example, right? My mom wants wanted to be hided. I'm trying to be hided, but I don't know why. This is transgenerational traumas.
What do you mean try to be hidden? Like,
For example,
what
I don't like to
exactly?
be it might be so different, the trauma in nowadays can grow up in different way. Like, for example,
Like fear of public speaking, maybe, or
we're
something
public
along those
speaking, or
lines.
for example, I can be a good worker in some company, but all people around me get awards, or like all my work I do somehow hardly for my boss, and like give him or her all my
All
paper,
the credit, or like
all the
some like
credit. Yes, but
self-sabotaging, basically.
yeah, but myself, I'll never, accept like, oh, and no one knows that it was my work, right? I'm trying to be hide. I think the best example is about money, right? I think it's a lot of about money. Someone getting very rich in our generation, and then they go through some trauma. We were killed because we were rich and all money was stolen, or something else happened, and someone died, or someone survived because of money. And after that, it can be like kind of survival tradition pattern. Like we don't want to have a lot of money. When we get a lot of money, when we like work very hard, and when we finally have a lot of money, something will happen, like car will be broken, or I don't know, we will buy a new house, or we will just, I don't know, go to casino and spend all of them, right? This, it works like that. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when we
Mm-hmm.
work with the clients like that, we can find these patterns.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
This is what constellation does, right? We work with transgenerational traumas.
How
And
does it transfer though? For example, if you don't know the story of what happened in, in your family history, but you have these, things happening to you, these patterns, and that's specialists like you help to find them. But how do they transfer? Like if you don't know about them by
oh,
just, listening to someone, how does it transfer on a psychological, emotional level?
so the most important way, it's emotional. Probably you heard a lot that little kids, they feel everything. Yeah, there's a lot of proofs that kids feel the things we don't want to feel. We adult, and they have a lot of tools how to not feeling bad feeling for us.
You mean already the kids already born, not non-born? You're talking about already like who
Yeah,
are there.
the small kids can get that
Mm-hmm.
something
Okay.
from their childhood. It's not
Mm-hmm.
verbal things to do, right? If I don't want to feel something, for example, I don't want to meet with my fear, right? I'm trying to hide it from myself. So it will be, if it goes somewhere, like I will hide it, but people around me might feel it, and especially the small kids, especially young kids. The constellation also says about levels, like there are older level, smaller level, like this. Why it's constellation? Yes, because it's a structure. And the youngest in the family, they able to get more. We don't understand what's going on, yes, but they are trying to get more my feeling. Like if I'm mom and I have fear, but I try to hide it, so my kids can try to get that fear because they need mom and they understand what's something wrong with mom, and we want to help mom. We want to get a better mom, a mom who will play with them, and we try to help it. This is one way. And another way, it's verbal way, because we even don't understand how often they say some phrases, some things, some situation, what happening around us. Like probably you heard that what is inside, uh, we see outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Life is so interesting, but a lot of situations will be built to transfer this trauma to your kid. I don't know, remember your grandparents. You probably can remember the things they could say this way. Like, for example, the neighbors, oh, he's rich, he's probably not a good person, or like something, like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
Mm-hmm.
know this person at all. They watch TV and they can say something about this. And then you're a little one, you probably don't understand all meaning of that, but you take a lot of phrase, and you will have you heard about interact?
No.
No.
We don't have like we don't work with real grandma, right? In the constellation, we work with
Mm-hmm.
reaction, your vision of your grandma,
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
of your vision of your mama, your vision of your papa, right? Your vision of your dad. If you go to psychology, you don't work with real dad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't try to tell him what that you weren't right, but you do it inside of yourself with interaction of your dad, with a vision of
Mm-hmm.
your dad. So, and like that, we have interaction of rich people, interaction of I don't know, women, men, and etc., etc., etc.
So it's like, but you, so you, another way that you could say it, maybe like an understanding and or preconceived notion of
Yes,
something or someone.
yes, 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 yes.
Hmm. Okay. And how do you make your clients to remember these things? Do you just talk and trying to go to history, or do you use hypnosis, or
Yeah,
what do you do?
if it's a regression session, it's not directive hypnosis. Not directive, it means okay, this is another thing. So our brain works like our brain has a different vibration, different waves. So they can be alpha, beta, delta, and theta, four of them. So we live in beta.
Hmm.
But because our brain has different vibration, like all of them are useful and all of them are necessary. So we sleep in
Well, the better sleep is delta, right?
delta, yes, delta. Maybe some of people can sleep in theta. Theta is really, really deep sleeping. It's if you heard the stories about like some Buddhist monk just sit 20
Yeah,
years
yeah, 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 yeah.
it's theta. It's kind of
Hmm.
supposed to be theta. He's alive and not alive. So and alpha is a light trance. It's when you like something between sleeping and not sleeping. It's meditation. When
Hmm.
you meditate, when you go to yoga and have savasana, when you are just like tired and watch TV and just like take
Mindlessly,
candle.
mindlessly
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah. This is
clicking.
alpha.
Hmm.
This is alpha.
More
So
like some consciousness working with you, right?
yes, yes, it means
Mm-hmm.
your tools that helps you to protect yourself from memories and feelings. They don't work very well in alpha because like in trance, it's easy to avoid them and have connection with the feelings. So we walk through the feelings, not from memory, through the feelings. Try to remember these feelings, then it happened, and after that then client can remember, can recognize the feeling, can recognize that it's looks like, I don't know, big black balloon in his chest. We can ask, and if it's in your chest, how is your body, how old you are, and the client can feel that he's a baby, or
Hmm.
he's like very, very small, or he is, I don't know, a big guy from past life.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So and that's how far they can go in their memories and past lives as well. So you're talking that it's real,
Yeah.
having past lives, that it's not like just imagination or some kind of.
So,
And
actually, to be honest, we don't know the right answer, right? It might be just some interaction in the brain.
mm-hmm.
Eh,
Okay,
you don't know, was it really past life or was it interaction was
memory.
from some movie the client watched just after that happened with him, and somehow it's connected.
Oh,
In
interesting. And that's
Yeah,
completely
interesting.
different turn here, right there.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
that's not the same
Interesting.
story.
Yeah, when we speak about regression, we of course say it's a past life, and people who go to just regression, they want to believe that it's past life, right? If we speak about psychotherapy, uh, we actually don't know. But what's the most important when we work that with that feelings, it helps people to improve his or her life in in now, in the real life. So
That's that's so interesting that you're thinking that you remember your past life and you were like, I don't know, some rich king or the opposite, right? And you're building your new life based on those memories that you think it was your past, and but in reality it was a movie you watched, and you just base your life on a character from the movie. That's crazy.
we don't know that, we do not
No,
Ah,
know.
because think about it. Think about it. Don't you have some memories that you think you saw something, but it was actually somebody telling you that?
yeah,
Like
that but
I
that's
know
what they talked about now a lot.
I
Like,
know
yeah,
a
that's
lot of the
false
times
memories.
but a lot of
Of
the times
course.
I can 100% guarantee you that I remember it happening, but my parents are telling me, "No, we told you that." We told you that story. You cannot possibly remember the story because you were too
But
Yeah.
busy.
your brain built that story, and because
Hmm.
now we have so many vision content,
Hmm.
our
Mm-hmm.
brain can build it by visions too. But the most important is the feeling. That's why we work from feeling. We go to feelings, we go to fear, and they go as far as a person can go. And if a person can go farther, and it's the like, well, because like when we do this, yeah, we like I see, for example, the client sees himself as a king. They
Hmm.
ask, this king feels this feeling. What happened with this king? So I don't know what happened. We go further and we ask, okay, and now pretend that he can go further and you can understand there this king got these feelings. And the client goes farther and farther and farther. And at that moment, he says, no, this happened. Like a little girl just went to the forest and the big tree just fall next to her and she was scared.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and we work with this feeling. We use RPT therapy and we try to recognize all instincts that happened at that moment and they recognize them and we work with them. And when we go back, it's probably we see that that king doesn't have this memory and sometimes the king doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
the amount of fears and amount of problem in his real life, the man has less.
Yeah. So that's very interesting theory in how you use it in your practice. But I can say from that that's probably, even though it's we didn't experience it, but little kids, they watch, when they watch TV, they can be pretty much affected by what happens to the character in the movie or the cartoon, right? Just like it was happened with them in real life, right? Because they take it so deeply and they still don't understand the difference, what is real and what is not. And what you're talking about, they can probably think that it was their story, even though it wasn't, but because it's how they were affected emotionally at that moment. In the same what Nadia is talking about, when her parents told her something, but at that time she felt it so deeply that like it really happened to her, right? And
Yeah,
when
but
you get rid of
probably
this
it's probably
story,
was her
you feel
feeling
better.
before too, like for example, she was I don't know, scared of something, right? And in some time her parents told her, oh, I don't know, your cousin went to forest and the snake bited, cousin. And it's not a new fear, it's her fear what it was before, but
Hmm.
they just connected with that stories.
Yeah, because she felt so deeply that story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because her feeling, her real feeling were inappropriate. For example, mom punished her so much, right? And she had very
Hmm.
scared of her mom, but she can't say that to mom because it's not appropriate. So that's why when mom told another story, she can put her feeling to that story.
Hmm.
Do you
Okay.
understand? I can create another example, so it will be more understandable.
Not that what's interesting is that, yes, I can understand how you're like right now you're asking questions and you're trying to process it. It's basically the same thing that I was doing. I did the same thing and I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't really make sense to me. And how does that work? And how does it like I was trying to put the puzzle together and it didn't really make sense, honestly. It didn't. And I've heard about other regression specialists before, and I would probably never want to try it until I met Anna. Okay, and it's really like I've done it before. I've done it with
Hmm.
Anna, and the thing is that I did it with her because I had trust in her, right? Because it's
Hmm.
it's rather a scary thing to do if you've never, it's like you're gonna do what again? We're gonna do what again? Like we're gonna go where?
What if I will never get out of that, right?
Right? Exactly. So this is
But
like
in the back of my head, then it's here, right?
right? It was rather difficult and scary. But then and again, like there was other people who were offering me to do the same thing. They're like, "Oh, let's do this, and we'll work on the problem that you have." And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that with you." And then I realized that was actually it was with them that I didn't want to do it.
Uh-huh. So
Not that I
trust
didn't
is
want to
super
do it.
important too. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because just like anything, like what if like tomorrow I take you and I'm like, oh, Natalia, let's go and I don't know, ride water scooters or whatever they're called. But you don't
Mm-hmm.
know if I can do that. Maybe I can't do that. Right? And it's like, are you sure you can do it? But somebody that you can trust, you're more easily agreeable to like experiment and to do something new, right? And so I did
I'm for
that
the scooter.
with Anna. I can't remember Anna. I don't remember. Did we do it like a couple of times? We did it a couple
I
of
did.
times.
I didn't know you actually did it.
I
I
actually
thought
did
you
do
just
it.
knew each other from Instagram, but
No,
I
no,
didn't
no.
know you actually tried to. Oh, okay.
No, I
So
did I
okay.
did
You
do it. We
know
did
her
it a
in
couple of
practice.
times. And
Oh,
believe me, it doesn't make sense really until you do it. And then when you do it, you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
yeah.
The most important thing is feeling, and the most important, like what human being can do, we cannot feel. They can try to split, you know, like personality splitting between feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And it's
and
sometimes and it's sometimes not even feelings. Sometimes it's something that you can feel like in like physically.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's not something sometimes it's not like, oh, I feel sad. No, it's something sometimes it's like a physical feeling. Like what do you feel? Like a tingling sensation or
It's
like
somewhere inside,
that it's
right,
hard
in your
like
stomach. Yeah,
that it's
yeah.
hard for you to breathe or it's something like a physical thing like that your body is telling you, you
have you
know?
heard
Mm-hmm.
about alexithymia?
Oh, what is that?
This is condition then human being can feel any emotions, and instead of emotions, the human being feeling body.
Huh.
Like being guilty and having
Mm-hmm.
a stomach problem is the same for them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is also our tool how we can avoid our emotions and our feeling. We just put them in our body because,
Like
like,
psychosomatics a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, it is. It is. It's from psychosomatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have so many ways how to be splitted, and so many ways we can teach how to be splitted to our kids. But for kids, it's really difficult to why it's more traumatic for them because they don't recognize their emotion very well and they don't know how to make deal with it, kids don't know how to be scared, they started to cry because they don't know how to handle it. And we can say them, don't be scared, right? It means I not accept you if you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, the person, like little human being, can be split between like his personality, what accepted, identity, what accepted. My mom wants me to be like that, and like something bad in me, my feeling, my scared. It's so bad for me. I want to hide it from mom because mom doesn't accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, makes sense.
in any situation, then the my little person can put this feeling to somehow connect with them, can be recognizable what it's on. After that, the kids watch movie like scared movie, and he might to feel something again, or he hears some story or etc. But he's feeling like unlocked at that moment, and it's make
Mm-hmm.
connection in the brain, the
You
memory.
see, Natalia, this is what we were talking about. Remember, we were just talking about how everything is mom's fault. Everything is,
Yeah.
being a mother, like everything is mom's fault
It's a
these
narrative
days.
right now. Yeah, it's everything your moms or your parents. And yeah, yeah, that's
That's
interesting.
an example, because like the biggest amount of traumas and patterns we got when we were young.
Well, obviously, yes, but then there are people who would just sit there and be like, "Oh, my mom did this to me," versus there's people who seek help, right? Work through their feelings and take responsibility and be adults instead of just saying, "Oh, my mom did it to me." And
Yeah,
that's why I'm messed up the way I'm messed up.
yeah, that's a very popular narrative right now to blame parents for everything. But there are sometimes the things that children actually find traumatic, and that affects something their life experience later. It's not something that would their parents would ever guess. that was not something that was the discipline, the way they try to make this thing, right and good, show the right and good for their kids. But it would be like completely such a little thing, like it's for me. It was such a little thing that my mom would never in her life think that would, I would remember it for the rest of my life. The same with my kids. Like we try to remember some things, and they told me, some things that still remember, some arguments, and I would never think it would affect them in something because it was just a situation, just a little situation that happens for 5 seconds, but they remember it for the rest of their lives.
That's
Like,
true.
how can you prevent any of this? Like, you
I don't think
cannot
you
control
can.
every moment.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, probably you can't. And what you can do, you can try to be emotional alive for them. It's one of the part of the safety, then they can come and tell you everything and
Mm-hmm.
tell you.
But the universe didn't build it that way. Think about it, right? So if we have our kids young, when we're at the prime of our physical abilities, we're probably not that great emotionally. We're not as mature, we're not as available sometimes, we're not fully maybe adults ourselves emotionally. When we are adults emotionally, when we have the means, we have the physical means, we have the money, we have the everything, right? Sometimes it's hard to have children because we're already older. We're not at the prime of the physical abilities. And then also, with all of that, think about how hard it is to have children, how hard it is that they make like okay, the little cow when they're born, the calf, how many hours later the calf can walk? A child
Yeah,
Yeah.
cannot walk until they're
yeah,
right
yeah,
or
Right.
what.
of
And so
course.
physically it's like, oh my God, how much energy this takes.
Of course, but and it's different with nowadays and how human beings probably were created. We lived as a pride, and if we go to more traditional societies like less developed countries, we will see that after getting born, mother just stay with the kid, and a lot of other women around her do so many things and provide her food and everything what necessary. And
Mm.
during the pregnancy, our brain turning to different way. If we don't focus to work and I don't know, education and all other things, our hormones try to turn us to different way. They are started to interesting in ourselves and our baby. All our feelings go a little bit inside.
That's right, right, right. That's called pregnant brain. Because I was trying to
Both
study when I
pregnant
was
brain.
pregnant. That did
Yeah.
not work very well.
Because like nowadays is a little bit different. And now what we can do, we can try to find this balance. But actually, the nature created us so we could stay with a little baby till at least 1, 2 years, right? And the first 3 years are very important, and first year are the most important. And after that, already all other situations will be not so harmless. And also that Natasha told that some memory she has through her life, that probably if you have this memory, it's already not so much, it's not so much rule of you. You remember that memory and you can deal with it. The problem if you don't remember something and you don't understand what's going on with you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
uh,
I understand.
and
Yeah.
this emotional, what I told you, this emotional support what mom can do, mom, maximum what we can do, we can try to be open as much as like if your kid crying and you understand that he's scared, you understand that he's scared and it's okay for him. He's like 6 month old. He might be scared of everything, right? And we try to help him to process it, to be scared and just be with him and not saying, don't cry and don't be scared. Yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, you cannot explain it to everyone, and
Well, not on,
and
not only that you cannot explain it to everyone, there's certain things that you can't turn back time either, right?
no,
I
I
know I know
wish.
I've made a lot of mistakes as a young mom but I didn't know any better. And if I didn't do certain things, I probably would go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and they would probably lock me up in the hospital.
Yeah.
at some point. So you did, everybody does what they have to do to survive, to get through. Because yeah, we don't have a whole village to raise our one or two or
Yes,
however many
it's a
children.
one thing. We don't have it anymore, right? And sometimes mom just stay in front of so many things. And
Yeah, so
sometimes,
many choices and then you have to
yes,
make.
and
Yeah.
yes, and even sometimes pride or village or grandparents, sometimes they are not supportive and
Hmm.
opposite. And sometimes it's better to not meet them at all, to the situation, they are really different. Every human being has a different destiny, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's it's a whole thing. We can actually keep talking and talking and talking about this. But you guys, we're limited in time. You've been with Queens with Accents. We were talking today about prenatal psychology. We were talking about family constellations. We were talking about regressions. Click subscribe if you haven't. If
It's
you
already
want to,
been an hour?
it's been an hour, yes.
Oh my
And
God.
there's a lot more to discover in this whole area, in this field, right? It's not by chance that Anna has been studying this for years and years and years, and so she has like a wealth of information. But thank you for being with us. And if you do see a pattern in yourself that maybe you're self-sabotaging, maybe you're not appreciating your success the way that you should, or maybe there's something in your life that doesn't go the way that you want to, maybe, hey, try figuring out why and fixing your life and live a better life.
Yeah, I wrote so many questions. I didn't realize it was so much time already passed. So
You wrote
we
so
didn't
many
we
questions.
didn't even scratch the surface as well as usual. But yeah, it was. Thank you so much, Anna, for coming. And it's a lot of things to think about, like a lot of
The
information that I've
process.
never like know about and then knew about. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Natalie. Thank you, Nadezhda. I had fun. It was very nice time for me.
Thank you for coming. Yes, if you don't mind, maybe we might actually zoom in on one of these things, like even at like more in depth and do like a
yeah,
deeper
for
dive
sure.
type of
With
situation.
pleasure, with
For
pleasure.
sure. Those
Perfect.
questions that I wrote down, they need to be answered.
Those questions that I wrote down. Natalia is very prepared. You see, she's a
I'm getting prepared during the conversation, and I have so many things that I want to like know now or now when you explain it to me. Okay, okay, guys. Well, thank you for staying with us, and we'll see you next time.
See you next
bye.
time. Bye bye.